Hello and welcome to the Inside Scoop. Today I am so excited because I have my personal coach, Greg. I actually don't know how to say your last name. I never say your last name.
Oh, Reinauer, Greg Reinauer.
Greg Reinauer. I just call him Coach. So Greg, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I'm excited to bring you on to the Inside Scoop.
Thanks. Excited to be here.
The way I like to jump in is just tell me, give me a snapshot of your business, what the demographics are, if you want to share your age, your role within the business size, how long you've been in business, types of services, and who you work with.
Great. So I'm a coach and a licensed trainer with the Academy for Coaching Excellence. So I have a solo business that's a coaching business, and I work with socially conscious, creative entrepreneurs mostly. So people who see themselves as creative, want to make an impact in the world, and for the most part are in business for themselves in one way or another. And I also right now I'll talk about it a little more later, but I'm on the staff at the Academy for Coaching Excellence. So I've kind of scaled back my business, but I'm still working with a lot of creative clients.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. And that's how we met. I am a student or a graduate of the program. So, yep. so stoked to hear so much more about your journey. And I imagine there might be some ACE folks tuning in too that will be stoked to hear about it.
Great. Hi, ACE folks.
Hi, ACE folks. That was such a big question for me at the beginning of what am I getting into and what does it look like? So thanks for giving us a snapshot. So I like to just start off what do you love? What's your favorite part of running your business, or most important aspects to you?
Well, I love working with creative people and getting to coach them to see new possibilities. You're as a coach, just know how sweet it is when people produce the results that they really, really want, and see not only new possibilities, but take action on them and really create something. So that's my favorite part. And then as a creative person myself, I just really love the opportunities to be creative as an entrepreneur. It's like I can create a new program. I can create a new webinar. I love creating content and doing content marketing. There's just so many opportunities to get to be creative as an entrepreneur. So I love that in general about having my own business.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Yeah, that reminds me of your website, which is beautiful of art. And I actually just read it for the first time because 3 years ago, when I met you, I didn't need a website to know I wanted to work with you. But as I'm working on my website, I went back and checked yours out, and it really does speak to your creativity and what you are here bringing here and what you're getting to express here. So sweet. Okay, let's dive into the challenges. What are some of your biggest frustrations or challenges that you have faced in running your business? And I think we skipped over, how long have you been in business?
Oh, so I've really been in business for myself my whole life in different forms. I have a background in music, so I was a freelance musician, a freelance music teacher. And about 5 years ago, started coaching and kind of built that business up while I was still doing the music thing. Switched over to coaching in 2019. So about 3 years ago, switched over more to full-time coaching because that business was starting to kind of surpass the other one in terms of opportunity. And then I've been doing it full-time for about 3 years.
Oh, beautiful. So in that 30 to 40 years, I don't know exactly how old you are, I don't want to reveal anything. What have been some of your
I'm 37.
37. Okay, so in your 3 to 37 years of business, what have been some of your biggest frustrations and challenges that you faced?
Well, I think one is just when you're getting started as a coach, you're so excited to coach people and you see the value in it, and it's just like, oh, great, I'm ready, and I'm excited about it, and I'm finding, looking for people and ready to have these conversations, and then it's like, I can't find any leads. I'm hardly coaching anybody. This is taking a lot longer than I thought. I didn't know it would be so hard to generate those first connections. And I'm a mentor coach now at the Academy, so I get to see other coaches go through that phase. And so it's frustrating because you're so excited to give people the value that that you have been trained to give them. And it just takes a little longer. So, that's, I think, frustrating for anyone getting started, especially if you think it's going to happen faster than it does. So really the first year was slow getting those first few clients. And how I overcame it, I think, goes back to creativity for me. It's like, I think this is part of being an entrepreneur, is to experiment, to try new things, to try a different angle, to try a different offering, do a new group program, do a new video, something, to see what works, and to keep trying new things until something sticks. So that's how I overcame it, and also just sticking with it. And that's what I'd say to anyone in their first couple years of building a business, especially if it's something one-on-one, some solo product like coaching. It just takes time to build an audience. And sometimes that means you have to do other things on the side while you continue to keep putting energy into it. But if you keep at it, keep putting energy out to it, eventually people will remember you, come to you, understand what you do. But also, I think you develop your ability to really hone in and clarify exactly what you're offering and who it's for.
Well said, well said. Speaking of trying new things, I just remembered that usually I change these into gallery view to record. So I'm just going to switch us up there. So anybody that's watching, it's like, what just happened? That's what just happened. I might happen on the screen for the past 10 minutes. Greg was definitely there. Now I'm joining you. And beautiful. Thank you so much. Any other challenge? And thank you for speaking to so many new business folks out there that are like ready to throw in the towel, right? It's like, okay, right. It takes time to build this, to build the audience and to keep going and to try new things. Any other challenges like dealing with time or finances or sales or, well, you mentioned sales, but customer service?
Yeah.
That kind of thing?
I had a lot of support. So a lot of the stuff like figuring out sales and the structure of it, I was able to kind of shortcut to some very simple ways to do it. But definitely, time and organization is just something that I think every time we're doing something new, it requires leveling it up, becoming even more focused, and in a way that is not driven, in a way that you still experience ease. Because I think a lot of people get into coaching because they see a potential for a lifestyle where there's a lot of freedom, there's a lot of ease. You don't have to work even 40 hours a week or even 30 hours a week if you don't want to. And at first it takes some more energy, but just really practicing energy efficiency, being really organized, being really focused with your time, and getting clear on what's important. I think that's another thing that goes back to being willing to experiment, being willing to adjust, because at first you may put a lot of time into something that you think is really important and then see that it's not actually returning much. So, being able to shift and figure out, okay, where is it that I most need to be putting my time into each week that's going to move me forward in what I'm trying to build.
Great reflective questions there for the kind of rinse and repeat, but that includes some evaluate, right? And remodel. Great. And so you mentioned you had a lot of support. Do you want to speak to that, just to how you address some of these challenges? Because that sounded like quite a nice little advantage of developing your time management skills or your sales in that way.
Yeah, well, I started my coaching practice at the Academy for Coaching Excellence. And in the program, as you know, you've gone through it and have graduated, you're in the program until you have 125 hours with your own clients, which really means you've developed the foundation of your business. So I had mentor coaches, I had peer coaching, I had friends who were more experienced coaches who had invited me into the program, who were very generous. My best friend, Zotobi, is the one who introduced me to this work. And one of my mentors, Jeremy Blanchard, they're very generous. It's like, I've created this system for sending contracts and invoices. I've created this way of setting up website, format, use any of it, share any of it. So it was it's a generous community and a supportive community that all wants to see each other thrive. So I had a lot of help, just setting up automatic payments, setting up, my website, all that stuff. So I'm grateful for that. And the fact that I had coaching throughout, I think it's very important that as coaches, we have our own coaches and mentors as well, so that we can move through our own stopping points as we're building something new for ourselves.
So true. Yeah. And I think, you speak to the ACE community, which I second as being an amazingly supportive and generous community where I was able to grow and thrive. And the network there are lots of networks like that in the world. So, that I imagine people out there are already connected to and just haven't seen as a resource. So I think that's a great model. Are there any skills that, we just talked about your coaching skills, which, is like a pretty concrete program. You go through this program called CDP and you come out a coach. Were there any other skills that you chose to develop as you were growing your business in the 3 to 37 or 8 years that you've been in business?
Yeah, well, I'll just focus on, the last 5 years of growing the coaching business, because, very different than being, in a touring band or that kind of thing. The first one that comes to mind is marketing. In the coach training program, you get actually a great foundation of enrollment skills, and being able to have conversations with potential clients. But like I said, finding those clients is more of a marketing thing. And that's something I had to really develop outside of the program. I'll also mention in addition to that, I took Jeremy Blanchard's Enrollment Bootcamp. So I just want to do a shout out to that. It's a 6-month program that he does specifically for coaches. So I got extra training, extra support wherever I could. The person I learned the most from in terms of marketing is George Cow. And a lot of what I learned from his free content. He's very, very generous with his free content. And then I started taking some courses. The first one I took was on authentic video creation. So that was a huge new skill. I had done some videos in the past with music stuff, but being able to create video content in a way that's authentic and effective and actually resonates with the audience took a lot of practice. It's funny, you can, as a musician, I've been on stage thousands of hours, been in front of people. I'm not shy at all. But it's funny, if you do a live video and you just hit record and go live and start talking, for some reason, the first 12 times you do that, 20 times you do that, it's really, anxiety producing. So just being able to develop that muscle and get comfortable creating that content. And then I also learned how to do Facebook ads and Instagram ads through his courses. And that's something that I really kind of became obsessed with for a year or two, because it was just a whole new skill set. And I saw that this particular kind, he calls it authentic marketing or authentic content marketing, is slow marketing. So it's developing audience over time by just continuing to show up and consistently create content. And I loved that way of doing it because I love creating things. So it's like, oh, good. My main job is just to create new stuff. I love that. And it made sense to me. It cut through the kind of like, oh, you take this month course and you'll have a full roster, and you'll be making $200,000 a year doing nothing, sitting at the beach. There's a lot of hype out there, and the way he teaches it, I think, is very realistic, which is helpful. It's like, okay, it's going to take me a year or two to develop an audience that's really going to start bringing in clients. And in the meantime, I got to figure out how am I going to keep my business running. So I'm kind of, and I'm seeing this with my mentor, the coaches I mentor as well, helping them see for those first couple years, it's about direct referrals, reaching out to your network. After a couple of years, there's a little diminished return on that. So it's good to be doing both, creating content that's going to slowly build an audience so that in a couple of years, you're going to start getting leads from the audience that you've built rather than your existing network. So that's a skill that I'm glad I developed, and it's fun. It went from marketing as something like that seemed unpleasant to something, a lot of times when people are coaching, they're like, oh, I wish I didn't have to do all this outreach, all this marketing to find clients. I just want to work with my clients. And then there were times where I'd get really into creating some marketing content. I'd be like, oh no, I have a client coming up. I got to stop. I was having fun. So,
Yep.
so marketing can be fun if you do it authentically. That's my takeaway.
Oh, so many good nuggets, and so true. I'm George and Tad Hargrave are pals and have run like a parallel track, and I've been on the Tad train, and I am having that experience where I'm like, oh, I'm just getting my Venn diagram perfectly, and okay, I'll go switch gears. Of course, I'm very happy to switch gears. So great. Okay, here's a question for like the span of time, which is there any order that you would have changed up, an order of operations that you would have done slightly different if you were going to do it again?
Good question. I think I would have started building an audience a little sooner. So I think I would have started consistently creating content sooner. And not that I didn't create any, but consistently is the key word, like putting out something every week, no matter what, rather than waiting to get that perfect thing and takes 6 months. Doesn't really do that much for creating an audience and getting attention, and which can be frustrating. It's just like, oh, I spent 6 months, I created this great thing, I thought I just put it out and all of a sudden everyone would love me. But it turns out just consistency, even if the stuff you feel like is so is really the more reliable way to do it. So I would have started doing that earlier. And just you can always be more organized with tracking. And you and I recently just did a thing on client tracking through Streak. It doesn't really matter what system you use. I like Streak, but it's like when you're first getting started, and we've talked about this, you can kind of keep all your leads in your head because A, you're really excited because you only have one client or something, and B, there's not that many leads, so you can kind of hold them all in your head. But even earlier, getting a really clear system of tracking, following up, managing your leads, so that as your audience slowly grows and as you have more clients and referrals and conversations, you're not wasting energy trying to figure out who do I reach out to and when.
Yep. Yeah, and I was to say it's like track it and look at it. That's the lesson I've been learning. And go back and see who's missing. So that's great. That's very helpful. Okay.
And one other thing is co-working in some way, even if it's just texting a buddy what you're going to do in a specific focused hour. When I started doing that, and I did that pretty early in, but I'm like, why did I wait 6 months or a year to do this? Why wasn't this the first thing I was taught? So co-working is so good for focusing.
Oh, so great. And so thank you so much for sharing so many hacks. The inside scoop, I talked to many different types of small businesses, but I'm loving the combination of the coaching style and the business. It's like the perfect confluence. Okay, so you mentioned a little bit about investing in the courses that you took to develop those skills. Are there anything else that you're currently spending money on that's solving some of these problems that are, worth mentioning?
Well, I spend, I think, $5 a month on a premium focusmate.com membership. Well worth. Even the free version is pretty good. You can do like 3 sessions a week, which is maybe all people need, especially if they only are working on their business 1 day of the week or something. So I spend money on that. The billing system I use is Moonclerk. I spend a little money on that. I really don't spend a lot of money on my business. I have invested by far the most in continued training, continued education. I bought a microphone and a camera because I'm on Zoom all the time. Spent a couple $100 total. But yeah, I don't spend a lot of money. I find that most of the tools that I need are relatively inexpensive.
Nice. Okay.
Calendly costs like $10 a month or something.
Yeah, it does. Calendly. It's a good one. It's helpful. Great. Any other juicy tips on how to use money or not use money to run your business?
Yeah, I think investing, you want to have a clear outcome when you're investing money in your business, and you want to understand whatever it is. So I guess a tip would be, there are plenty of, if let's say you're a coach, there are plenty of people who have businesses to help coaches be successful and offer shortcuts. And a lot of times people get frustrated. Oh, I gave this person, they said they would do the marketing for me, and they said, oh, just spend all this money on Facebook ads. And I did it and it didn't produce any results. Well, you have to, if you're going to hire somebody even to do marketing for you, you still have to understand marketing enough to know what to ask for and to know what to expect to deliver. So having a real clear sense of, okay, what's the return on investment for this? How do I know it's going to work? And what's the timeline to expect? So for example, I did a year-long, I did a second year as well, but the first year of becoming a licensed trainer at the academy was a big investment compared to everything else we talked about. One of the biggest investments after my initial training. And I knew that I was going to be able to then offer trainings, that it would take a little while to really be ready to do it. But I knew that that was a key part of my business. And I had a plan to create some courses where I could use this new thing of teaching the coaching tools outside of coaching sessions. And I created a couple programs. I created Get Your Song Out, which is probably my favorite offering I created, a 6-month program for aspiring songwriters. And it combines coaching sessions, training and coaching tools to help people be more consistently creative. And then music, teaching music, like bringing in that skill, doing workshops, getting to play with music together. So I knew that building a program like that was going to be something I really wanted to do in my business. So this investment was going to pay off within a couple of years, and it did.
Ah, sweet. So sweet. Well, I have a couple questions about coaching, which we already know you've worked with coaches, and my hunch is, and you've mentioned a couple of the courses that you've done as well. Do you have a sense of when you would recommend a business owner or small business owner to seek out coaching? When's the right time?
Yeah, I mean, my answer is going to be a coach's answer, which is if you think it might help, go talk to some coaches, have some intro sessions to see if what you're looking for is a fit with the right coach. But I really think just about any time in business, it's great to get support, and coaching is a great way to just move past where you're struggling, just to struggle less, to waste less energy, to be clear on your vision of what's important. And I think especially in the beginning, so when you're taking your vision and it's time to put it into action, put the plan into action, something happens that we call liftoff in our coaching model, which is it takes 10 times the energy at first to produce 1 unit of results. And this is where people start to doubt themselves. And this is where people start to think sometimes, oh, maybe this idea wasn't a good idea in the first place. Otherwise, why would it be so difficult right now? It'd be easier if I was meant to do this. And unfortunately, that's when a lot of people talk themselves out of it. And so I think that's really a very good time to get a coach, because they can help you move past that initial liftoff phase and help you quiet those doubts so you can think creatively, take consistent action, and actually enjoy what you're doing, even when you're working hard. So that's actually for me, that's why I love working with entrepreneurs, and one of the most common times that I work with folks. Or if you're leveling up your business, maybe you've started your business, you've been doing it for a little while, but there's a next level of growth in your business, and the next kind of breakthrough that you're looking to do. The same thing happens. You're back in liftoff with whatever's next. So those are the points where I think a coach is really, really helpful.
Beautiful. Yeah. And from liftoff, we can get into momentum and then into stability. I've got my little notes behind me, right? And then we get back through. So on point, and true to my experience. So, okay, give us the vision. Where are you headed? What's next for you in your business?
Yeah. So as I mentioned in the beginning, I've actually scaled back my business. So I'm not running my own courses right now. I'm still working with one-on-one clients. Unfortunately, I'm at a point right now where I'm getting enough referrals to get all the clients that I have capacity for, just out of the work that I've done over the past 5 years. So right now I'm putting zero energy in promoting my own business. I don't have anything my own business that I'm even promoting in this. But I'm still coaching. I still love coaching. And the reason why I'm scaling back is because I'm working also at the Academy for Coaching Excellence as both a mentor coach, course leader, and director of admissions. And the reason for that is because a couple things. One, the Academy for Coaching Excellence has given me so much, and they're at a point where they're looking to grow. They're looking to kind of break through as a business as well. And there's an opportunity for me to be a part of that, which is, to me, a big impact I can help make. But for me and my career trajectory, I'm getting to course lead, and I'm getting to course lead alongside Dr. Maria Nemeth and Beth Ann Suggs, who have been doing this for decades, and I consider master coaches and Maria Nemeth is literally a master certified coach, but I consider them really masters of coaching and course leading. And to getting to course lead alongside them and get mentored, not just a couple hours a month because I'm paying them for mentor sessions, but to really go through a whole 40-hour course with them, co-leading and getting mentored along the way, is the best growth opportunity I could think of for myself, because I know I'm going to be coaching and leading courses and trainings my whole career, or at least as far as I can see. And so it's like, what a great opportunity to just learn everything I can in this context, and also get to lead some incredible courses where people really transform and just make an impact through the Academy. So it's for that reason that it was a big decision. That was the biggest part of the decision for me, was, well, this means I'm gonna, maybe not do my own courses for a little while. Maybe this means I'm gonna be putting less energy into my own business that I've been focusing on for so long. So it was a big decision for me to decide to shift gears and do this, but the opportunity was just too great to pass up.
Totally. I get that. Yeah. And I think being at the feet of our masters, or even in the same room, is such a gift and honor. So anybody else that tell us, just give us a little snapshot. I know you guys, ACE has a course coming up. You want to tell? Well, people could be watching this at any time, so give us the kind of, you can tell us the next date, but also.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next date is, I think it starts July 14th. It's the Academy Foundational Training. It used to be known as Mastering Life's Energies, for anyone who has heard of it through that name. but we do it every 2 months, basically 6 times a year. So whenever you're watching this, there'll be one that's coming up at most a couple months. And you can share the link if you want at acecoachtraining.com. The course is the starting point for anyone who is interested in becoming a coach and getting trained and certified through the academy. And it is first about learning the framework, learning the tools and principles, and applying them in your own life so that you can move past your own stopping points, have your own transformation. When we say transformation, when we talk about this course, we mean it's a little different from change. Change, there's always a sense that you might take a course and change some ways of doing things, but you can always change back, and oftentimes you do. Transformation is like you see things in this course about yourself, your life, your thoughts that you don't unsee. So you really experience a transformation. And so you don't need to be wanting to be a coach to take this course and experience transformation. And we see it's very difficult, if not impossible, to coach someone past a point you haven't gone past yourself. So that's why we have all of our coaches start there too. It sets them up for their journey, getting trained as coaches. So that's the course that's coming up, and I co-lead it with Maria Nemeth. So I get to see you in the course room if you take it. So
yeah, amazing. I took the last in-person 4-day training the weekend before shelter in place, and wow. I would say it had quite the impact on my pandemic. Instead of kind of going down the struggle train, I had the experience of life opening up in all the creative ways, because I think the pandemic was both good and bad for everybody. And I was able to really say yes to the good, which was really nice. And it ended up, it was also like a really great time to get my coach training because there wasn't a lot going on. So I was grateful for that timing. Anybody else that you follow that inspires you that you mentioned George, I mentioned Tad, anybody else you want to call out that's been like a big inspiration on this journey for you? Authors, bloggers.
Yeah, good question. I have to get back to you. When they ask me, like, I know there's some people that I want to name right now. But let me get back and maybe we can put it in the
we'll put it in the chat. Yeah, and anybody that's watching that's looking in the chat or the notes, comments, and if you like this, you can subscribe. My goal right now is to get to 100 subscribers because then I can change the YouTube channel name to Nimble Roots Coaching. Instead, it's like XL10372. So thank you for your support in that. And if there's a bee or a bug, a fly, but in the afternoon I work with my office open and everybody comes to visit. So if anybody can hear that, that's what's going on. Anything else you want to share before we close up our inside scoop?
I was I read the first chapter this morning of George Cow's Joyful Productivity book. And it was all about you can't control all of the circumstances. Over time, if you put consistent energy in, you're going to get some results. But any one thing you're doing during the day, you don't know if it's going to produce results in your business. But what you do have control over is how you be in your business. And he talks in that first chapter about connecting with your spark of joy. And I thought that was really relevant to what I've discovered in my journey and what my working with my coaches has helped me stay in tune with. So find a way to have fun, is my advice to anyone doing anything that's difficult, is use the energy of enjoyment, find a way to have fun, even when things are hard or confusing, because, you're going to be in this for a while, so you might as well enjoy it.
Yeah, and gives me a moment to just appreciate you for how many years you've helped me focus on the joy and find more joy in my life and in my business. So thank you for all that time, and especially for this time today where you've not only contributed to my joy, but the joy of anybody out there listening who's launching something and found any bit of support in here. And if you did find that support, please put in the comments so we can hear from you and know what kind of impact this is having on the world. And thank you so much, Greg, for taking the time to be with me and to be out with everybody on YouTube.
Great.
All right, I'm gonna